do get high, they can stay high for very long periods of time because the clearing time in Bitcoin is slow.
Hey there, future millionaires. Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here again. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day, no matter where you're tuning in from around this incredible world of ours. Today, we're diving into some exciting XRP news, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So, I just came across this game-changing announcement from Uphold, and it's pretty incredible. They're saying, we've integrated with the Exactly protocol, and here's what this means for you. We're basically tearing down the walls that have kept people out of on-chain credit and lending. Think about this for a second. You'll be able to borrow money against your digital assets or earn yield on them whenever you want. No credit checks, no jumping through hoops, and get this, at rates that are actually lower than what traditional banks offer. Now, here's the timeline you need to know. This service is rolling out to users in Florida and Latin America this December. And if you're elsewhere in the US, don't worry. Broader availability is coming in the first quarter of next year. This is huge, people.
And honestly, I'm absolutely loving this concept. So which digital assets can you actually use with this service? We're talking XRP, ETH, USDC, and Bitcoin. Basically all the heavy hitters you'd expect. But here's what's got me thinking. Where the heck was this back in 2022? Remember those brutal bear market days? We were all sitting there watching the crypto crackdown unfold, and XRP was just stuck. I mean, stuck, moving sideways around 50 cents for what felt like forever. 2 whole years of basically nothing. Can you imagine if we'd had this service back then? Think about all the XRP you could have been earning during that time instead of just waiting. It's almost painful to think about, right? But hey, better late than never. At least it's finally happening now. And here's the beautiful part. This changes everything for the future. You won't have to make that heartbreaking decision to sell your crypto anymore. You can actually put it to work for you while still holding on to it. That's what I call having your cake and eating it too. And here's where things get really exciting. Now that Uphold's made this move, we're seeing that classic network effect starting to kick in. Check this out. Bitrue just posted, "Who's ready to start earning more with your XRP?" See what I mean? It's already happening. This is how the crypto space works, people. Every single exchange out there is going to want a piece of this action. It's like dominoes. One exchange makes the move, and suddenly everyone else is scrambling to offer the same thing because they don't want to get left behind. But here's what I'm really excited about, and what I'm personally keeping my eyes glued to. Institutional adoption. That's the real game changer we're waiting for. Picture this. When that flood of institutions finally comes pouring into this space, and trust me, it's coming. They're going to bring something we've all been dreaming of. They'll open up completely risk-free ways for you to earn passive income off your crypto holdings. We're talking about the big players with deep pockets and serious infrastructure. When they enter the game, everything changes.
And David Schwartz wrote this article. He said, "Would you like to see more articles like this one? Speaking of the war on cash, and oh boy, do we have a perfect example for you right here. Take a look at this notice from Chase Bank. They're basically saying, hey, important update about your cash deposits. And then they drop these new rules on you. Get this. Now when you want to make a cash deposit, you can only deposit into personal accounts that have your name on them. Gone are the days of helping out a friend or family member with a quick cash deposit. And it gets better, or should I say worse. You now have to be ready to show a valid ID for any deposits, whether it's personal or business accounts. They're basically treating you like a potential criminal for using, wait for it, legal tender. And then, and this is my favorite part, they end with this gem. Please talk to us about alternative deposit options. Translation, hey, we know we're making cash deposits a total pain, so let us convince you to go digital instead. See what's happening here, people? This is the war on cash playing out right in front of our eyes. And then they cheerfully add, we're happy to help. Yeah, right. But here's where it gets really interesting. David made this brilliant observation. The war on cash means you can buy a coffee if and only if a financial institution can make a profit on it. Think about that for a second. That's actually genius. He's calling out exactly what's happening here. Now, what sparked David's tweet? He was responding to another post from a coffee shop that announced they only accept credit cards now. A coffee shop. Can you believe that?
So here's how they always justify this war on cash. And you've probably heard this before. They love to say, oh, cash is what criminals and terrorists use. It's their go-to scare tactic. But here's the real reason, and David nails it perfectly. They argue that individuals like you and me, we're just too hard to regulate and control. So what's their solution? They basically say, instead of dealing with all these pesky individuals directly, let's just force everyone to go through institutions that we already have under our thumb. Why? Because institutions are way easier and cheaper for us to regulate. And here's the kicker. They believe that regulation will just trickle down to control every individual transaction you make. Pretty convenient system they've got there, right?
Now, this article is absolutely fascinating, and trust me, there's so much more in there that we could dive into. But the bottom line, there's definitely a war on cash happening right before our eyes. Here's what I'm convinced is coming, and I want you to mark my words on this. We are heading toward a completely cashless society. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And here's the big moment to watch for. Just wait until they roll out the digital dollar at full scale. Oh boy, are they going to make it tempting for you. Picture this. They're going to come at you with every incentive you can imagine. Cashback rewards, exclusive discounts, maybe even free money just for switching over to digital dollars. They'll make it so attractive that you'll almost feel silly not making the switch. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. This is all part of their master plan. The end game has always been the same. Go fully digital, eliminate paper money completely. And honestly, based on everything we're seeing with these banking restrictions and policies, I think we're closer to that reality than most people realize. What do you think? Are you seeing the signs too? But seriously, that was such an eye-opening article. Definitely worth the read if you get a chance. Now, speaking of the current state of things, check out this tweet from Crypto Brothers that really hit home for me. He says, "Got paid in crypto for the first time. Why does cashing out feel like I'm being robbed at every step?" Oh man, can we just talk about how real this is? I mean, this guy just experienced what so many of us have been dealing with for years. You finally get paid in crypto, which should be exciting, right? You're thinking, this is it. I'm living in the future. But then reality hits when you try to actually use that money. First, there's the exchange fees. Then there's the withdrawal fees. Oh, and don't forget about the tax implications that make your head spin. It's like they've designed the system to punish you at every single turn for trying to use the currency of the future. This is exactly why we need better infrastructure, and why developments like what we just talked about with Uphold are so important. We shouldn't have to feel like we're getting robbed just for trying to access our own money. Finally somebody wrote an article about this frustrating reality we're all dealing with. So, picture this. This person's big moment finally arrived. A client paid them in USDC for a project. We're talking $3,000 here. They've been waiting for this exact moment, right? This is supposed to be the dream. Crypto payments, instant settlement, no banks getting in the way. The future is here. But then, reality absolutely smacked them in the face. Here's what happened. They sent their USDC to Coinbase, sold it for USD, and then, brace yourself. Withdrawal fee, bank transfer fee, plus Coinbase's spread on the conversion. 4 days later, when the money finally hit their bank account, they were down $120. That's 4% of their money. Gone. And for what exactly? For moving numbers from one database to another. It's absolutely ridiculous. So naturally, they started looking at alternatives because this is completely insane. Now, don't get me wrong. Coinbase, Binance, they're easy to use. Everyone knows them. But those fees? Absolutely brutal. And here's what nobody ever talks about. These hidden fees that destroy you when you actually try to cash out and move your money to the bank. Plus, if you're cashing out big money, good luck with those withdrawal limits. Oh, and here's the cherry on top. They can freeze your account whenever they feel like it. This is exactly why I'm waiting for better alternatives to emerge. The future has to bring us better options than these current exchanges. Honestly, I'm not a fan of exchanges at all for this exact reason. But here's what I really don't understand, and maybe you can help me figure this out. Why is everyone in such a damn hurry to cash out their crypto into US dollars? Think about it. The US dollar loses value every single day. It's like watching your money slowly melt away. So here's a crazy idea. Why not cash out your crypto into a stablecoin instead, and then earn yield on that stablecoin? To me, that seems like a way smarter option if you're going to sell your bag or cash out your crypto. Look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking profits.
In fact, I tell people this all the time. Take some profits during this run. Pay off those bills, go on that vacation you've been dreaming about. It'll actually help you stay patient longer until XRP reaches those much higher price points that we all know are coming. But to rush and sell everything just to cash out into depreciating US dollars, I just don't get it, people.
Now let's talk about something really exciting happening with WisdomTree and BNY Mellon. This is a partnership that could change everything. So here's what's going down. Through this collaboration with BNY Mellon, users are getting access to some serious banking firepower. We're talking about BNY's leading banking functionality, but here's the cool part. It's combined with blockchain technology. What does this actually mean for you? Well, it's creating these on-ramp and off-ramp capabilities between the traditional banking world and blockchain apps. Basically, they're building bridges between the old financial system and the new digital one. And those bridges are going to become available as they roll them out. Think about this for a second. WisdomTree just appointed BNY Mellon to handle their entire banking-as-a-service infrastructure for digital assets. This isn't just some small partnership. This is about advancing access to stablecoins and tokenized real-world assets on a massive scale. This is exactly the kind of institutional adoption we've been talking about. When you have major players like BNY Mellon, one of the oldest and most established banks in the world, teaming up to provide blockchain banking services, you know we're moving into a completely new era of finance. This is the infrastructure being built right now that's going to make crypto mainstream. And Chad Steingraber just dropped this absolutely brilliant observation that I had to share with you guys. He says, Ripple is the invisible hand. XRP is the virtual oil. Wow. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how perfectly he captured this? Think about what he's saying here. Ripple is working behind the scenes like that invisible hand, orchestrating all these massive partnerships and infrastructure builds. You might not always see it happening, but it's there, moving all the pieces into place. And XRP? He calls it the virtual oil. And that's such a perfect analogy. Just like oil powers the traditional economy, XRP is going to be the fuel that powers this new digital financial system. And then he connects the dots with what we're seeing. G Treasury, BNY Mellon, RLUSD custody. All these major institutional players are getting involved. This isn't coincidence, people. This is Ripple's master plan unfolding right before our eyes. While everyone else is focused on the day-to-day price movements, Ripple is quietly building the infrastructure that's going to power the future of finance. Chad really nailed it with that observation. Are you starting to see the pattern here? Because it's absolutely mind-blowing when you really think about it. Everything, and I mean everything, somehow circles back to Ripple or XRP. It's like we're watching this massive web of connections unfold right in front of us. Every single major announcement we've been talking about today, if you take a step back and trace the breadcrumbs, they all lead back to either Ripple directly or to one of Ripple's partners. It's actually incredible. It's like Ripple has been quietly weaving this intricate network for years, and now we're finally starting to see how all these pieces fit together. You've got traditional banks, fintech companies, government treasuries. They're all somehow connected to this Ripple ecosystem. This isn't just coincidence, people. This is what strategic planning and execution looks like on a massive scale. While everyone else was making noise, Ripple was building relationships and infrastructure that are now becoming the backbone of the new financial system. It's honestly pretty amazing to witness this unfold in real time.
Ripple's XRP to play key role in ISO 222 transition by 2025.
All right, here's something huge that most people are completely overlooking right now, and it's going to blow your mind. Ripple's XRP is fully integrated into the ISO 2022 messaging standard. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck is ISO 2022? Well, buckle up because this is massive. The entire global payment industry, we're talking the whole thing, is expected to complete its transition to this ISO standard by the end of 2025. That's less than 2 months away, people. Here's why this is so incredible. XRP has native support for ISO 2022, which basically positions Ripple as the leader in modern payment systems. We're not talking about trying to catch up or retrofit. They're already there. And what does ISO 2022 actually do? It offers much richer payment data, which means way better transaction transparency and security. Plus, Ripple's integration helps streamline cross-border payments and makes everything way more efficient. But here's what's driving me crazy. Everybody out there right now is completely downplaying ISO 20022. They're acting like it's no big deal. Listen to me carefully. Any cryptocurrency that's tied to a network that is ISO compliant, those cryptocurrencies are going to be used within ISO messages. So let me ask you this. What do you think is going to happen when the entire global payment system starts using these ISO-compliant cryptocurrencies? This is going to push these cryptocurrencies to higher and higher price points over time. It's inevitable. So here's my question for you. Why not buy them now when they're all dirt cheap? We're literally sitting at the ground floor of the biggest financial transformation in history.
Another critical warning for XRP holders. All right, everyone. I need to stop everything right here and give you a serious warning because this is happening right now and people are losing their money. There's this scammer out there who's actually calling people on the phone and completely draining XRP from their wallets. I'm talking about wiping out entire accounts. Here's his game. He's pretending to be support from Zaman. But here's the thing. This is not a real account. This guy is a complete fraud. Whatever you do, do not interact with anyone claiming to be calling from Zaman's support. Just hang up immediately. And guys, this isn't just a few isolated cases. People are getting drained left and right. We're seeing this happen to XRP holders everywhere, and it's heartbreaking because once your crypto is gone, it's gone forever. Remember this golden rule. Real crypto support will never call you out of the blue. If someone calls claiming to be from any crypto company asking for your wallet information, keys, or passwords, it's a scam, 100% of the time. Please, please share this with anyone you know who holds XRP. We need to protect our community from these predators. Stay safe out there, and always verify before you trust.
And now they've escalated to actually calling you on the phone to steal your XRP. Can you believe that? The audacity of these scammers is unreal. Here's the harsh reality, people. There are literally scams everywhere right now. And you know what? As these cryptocurrencies start pumping and moving up in price, it's only going to get worse. The scammers smell the money, and they're coming out of the woodwork. So let me be crystal clear about something. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is airdropping you free XRP. Nobody is going to magically double your XRP bag. That stuff doesn't exist. If something looks too good to be true, guess what? It is too good to be true. Every single time. And please, for the love of everything, avoid sketchy emails and text messages. Never, ever click on something you're not 100% sure about. I've seen people lose their entire crypto portfolio in seconds, literally seconds, from one wrong click. Here's the thing, and I'm being completely real with you right now. I genuinely want to get rich with all of you. That's my goal. We're in this together. But I can't help you get rich if you lose your crypto to some scammer who's sitting in his basement trying to steal your hard-earned money. So please, please keep your crypto safe. Protect what you've worked so hard to build. We're going to ride this wave together, but only if we're smart about it.
Kraken CEO is set to speak at Ripple Swell. And speaking of exciting developments, I thought this next piece of news was absolutely fantastic. I've been noticing a lot of connections between Ripple and Kraken lately, and honestly, it's been really interesting to watch these ties strengthen over time. And now, get this, Kraken's CEO is going to be speaking at Ripple Swell. This is huge, people. When you have the CEO of one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world showing up to speak at Ripple's flagship event, that's not just a casual appearance. That's a statement. It's another piece of that puzzle we've been talking about. All these major players in the crypto space are somehow connected to Ripple's ecosystem. The fact that Kraken's CEO is taking the stage at Swell just reinforces everything we've been discussing about Ripple's growing influence and partnerships. I love seeing these connections come to light because it shows us that what we're witnessing isn't just random coincidence. There's real collaboration and strategic alignment happening behind the scenes.
Oh man, I am so pumped for Ripple Swell this year. I literally cannot contain my excitement. You know what? We all know that Ripple is going to drop some absolutely massive announcements at this event. They always do, but this time feels different. Way different. I have a feeling we're going to hear about all these incredible connections that have been made behind the scenes. You know, those partnerships between major companies and Ripple that we've been speculating about? I think we're finally going to get the official confirmations we've been waiting for. And here's what I'm really excited about. We're probably going to learn how long some of these companies have actually been working with Ripple. I bet you some of these partnerships have been in the works for months, maybe even years, and we're just now going to hear about them publicly. But here's the thing that has me most excited. This Ripple Swell is unlike any other Ripple Swell we've seen in the past. The timing, the market conditions, the regulatory environment, the institutional adoption. Everything is aligning perfectly. This isn't just going to be another crypto conference. This is going to be a showcase of how far Ripple has come and where the entire industry is headed. I have chills just thinking about it. All right, I want to take you back in time for a second. We're talking 7 years ago. Ripple's David Schwartz made this comparison between Bitcoin and XRP that was absolutely prophetic. He said something that really stands out. We have significantly better performance metrics than many other digital assets. Now, this was 7 years ago, people. Think about that for a moment. David was already talking about XRP's superior performance metrics way back then, long before most people even understood what that meant. And you know what's incredible? Everything he predicted has pretty much come true. When you look at transaction speed, energy efficiency, cost per transaction, XRP has been crushing it compared to Bitcoin and so many other cryptocurrencies. This guy was way ahead of his time, and honestly, it just shows you how much thought and planning went into building XRP from the ground up. Let's take a listen to what David said back then, because his words are even more relevant today than they were 7 years ago.
Competitive, we have significantly better performance metrics than many other digital assets. I would look at the much faster settlement. Bitcoin fees are not around $20 per transaction as they were when this slide was made, but I think it's important to point out that you're kind of at the mercy of the block size controversy. Miners want larger fees. Fees, if they do get high, they can stay high for very long periods of time because the clearing time in Bitcoin is slow. And of course, proof of work is probabilistic, which means sometimes there's a block in roughly 10 minutes. There can be two at about the same time. You can go an hour without a block. Consensus is much more deterministic and much, much faster. And fees are extremely low, well below a penny. And because you can handle more than 1,000 transactions per second, you can clear a fee backlog faster. It's very difficult for someone to try to clog the ledger because they would have to produce very, very high volumes, even with those small fees. And that compares very, very favorably to every other major digital asset. We think that's why that makes XRP useful for payments. Everything has value. What matters is how quickly can you transfer it, how much does it cost to transfer it, how reliable is it, how scalable is it. If we can make tokens interoperate so that there aren't network effects, what's going to matter are these sort of these features that are use case specific. So XRP, lowest cost per transaction, lowest transaction time, highest transaction rate. We've closed over 35 million ledgers, available on 60+ exchanges, so liquidity is not significantly different from other digital assets. So I want to talk about the technology underneath XRP. First of all, these are kind of the cost of admission. Every project has to have this. It has to be open source. You can't ask people to run code they can't see. It has to be decentralized. That is, there can't be someone who has the legal authority to run the system. There can't be someone who can shut it off or force people to run code they don't want to run, hold patents, none of that stuff. And it has to be reliable and secure. The XRP ledger has been operating since 2012, and no major issues. It uses a distributed agreement protocol to put transactions in order, consensus for ordering and batching. I want to call out one interesting thing that we do, which is invariant checking. Invariant checking is a security method that prevents things that you don't want to happen from happening.
I absolutely love the way David broke this down because what he was highlighting 7 years ago was exactly how the XRP ledger and XRP are fundamentally different from every other digital asset out there. And here's something that's going to blow your mind. Even today, the absolute best way to make payments using Bitcoin isn't even on Bitcoin's own network. It's actually over the XRP ledger, not the Lightning Network. Let me be blunt here. The Lightning Network is terrible. It's honestly pretty bad. You know why? Because it's a pre-funded network, and it works eerily similar to the old SWIFT system that we're all trying to get away from in the first place. But check this out. If you run Bitcoin transactions over the XRP ledger instead, you can complete them in a matter of seconds for less than a penny. We're talking lightning-fast speeds at practically zero cost. This is exactly why I've always said this, and I want you to remember this phrase. Bitcoin stores value, XRP moves value. That's the perfect way to think about it. Bitcoin is like digital gold, great for holding and storing wealth. But XRP? XRP is the ultimate utility token for actually moving that value around efficiently and cheaply. And honestly, I think we're going to see this dynamic play out more and more as time goes on. The world is going to realize that you need both. Bitcoin for storage, XRP for movement. All right, here's something that had me cheering. Binance founder CZ is threatening to file a defamation lawsuit against anti-crypto U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren
if she doesn't retract her false statements about crypto. And you know what? I think this is absolutely fantastic. This woman has been relentlessly trying to destroy crypto for years now. She just won't quit. Even after everything that's happened, she's still trying to crack down on the industry. Let's see how this all plays out, but honestly, I think it's about time someone like CZ stepped up to put her in her place. She's been saying whatever she wants without any consequences for way too long. Do you remember during the crypto crackdown when she was claiming that every single cryptocurrency is used for illegal activities? And then she had the audacity to say crypto is used for illicit purposes more than the US dollar. Where does she even get this information from? I'll tell you where. She just makes it up because it sounds good to her anti-crypto agenda. Here's the real truth that nobody wants to talk about. She works for the banks. She's in the pocket of JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all the traditional financial institutions. Her job is to make sure they stay relevant and keep making money in the current system. But guess what? A new system is coming whether they like it or not. Eventually, these banks are either going to get on board with crypto or they're going to get left behind in the dust. And until that happens, here's what we need to do. Stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up this video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I genuinely appreciate all of you being part of this community. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, have an amazing night.